let's open turtle.html, which is now our program. And you see how I've got a class here that has sprites in it, and a model, and a view, and a controller. All good stuff, right? Okay. But I'm going to need a little bit from this page.html. Basically this HTTP post thing I'm going to need. So let's copy just that. And in fact, let's copy the whole thing because maybe I'll hack it. And I'm just going to go stick this in right here. There we go. Now the thing is, nobody's actually calling say hi, so this is just dead code, right? That's just there to remind me how to send messages to the server. Let's have a let my ID equal -1. Now every client has a -1, and I'm deciding that -1 means I don't know what my ID is. You got that? Okay. Now I'm going to need to contact the server. See how I have this timer, and the timer sets an interval every 40 milliseconds. It calls onTimer, which updates my controller and my model and my view. Okay, so this onTimer method is called every 40 milliseconds. I could stick my code right here, or I could stick it inside of controller update, or model update, or view update. It doesn't matter because all of those are called every 40 milliseconds, right? Okay. 40 milliseconds is too often to hammer the server. That would be like a denial of service attack flooding the internet with packets. So let's do it a little less frequently than that. Also, where should we stick it? How about controller update? Sound good? Doesn't matter. I'll go with controller update. We'll say do networking stuff. And I'm going to say if this dot frame counter is undefined, this dot frame counter equals 0. This is me lazily attaching a member variable to the controller because this is a controller at this moment. Then I'll say this dot frame counter plus plus if this dot frame counter is more than 10, this dot frame counter equals 0. And now let's see. What am I doing right here? I'm about to call the server. How about contact server? But I don't want to contact the server every single frame. Why not? I just said that's too frequent. That's hammering the server, right? You don't want to say, what's new, what's new, what's new, what's new, what's new, what's new, what's new. That would get really annoying. So instead I'm going to say, what's new? What's new? What's new? What's new? That's not nearly as annoying, is it? Okay. Our human threshold's a little slower than that, but computers can take it. I'm going to do it every 10 frames, so instead of every 40 milliseconds, now it's every 400 milliseconds. That's about twice a second. A little more than twice a second. That's probably good. That's enough that it'll... If there was a lag of a half of a second, that's cool, right? Well, it's cool for me. For this assignment, that's good. So let's make a contact server method. Okay. How should we contact the server? Well, we have this method up here called sayHi, which contacts the server. See how that's everything we need? I'll just copy this stuff. I don't need to get it out of a text field because I'm not going to be doing that. And in here, first thing I'll do is I don't need to send it a message. I'll send it an ID. And I'll send to it my ID. And I'll also send to it, let's see, what should I put in it? How about MX for Mario's X? Well, I'll come back to that later. For right now, I'm just going to put my ID in this message. I could also put in Mario's X and Mario's Y and Luigi's X and Luigi's Y if I wanted to. Right? You could do that. Okay. So I've put this information in the object, I'll stringify it, I'll send it to the server, and it's going to come right back to CB, which is... Now, do you see that the very first time I contact the server, my ID is going to be -1, right? But thereafter, it's going to be whatever the server told me it was last time. Do you agree? Because in my callback, well, I'm going to say my ID equals ob.id. So whatever ID the server sends back to me is going to get stuck in my ID, and the server will send me back a valid ID. It won't be -1, and so I will never again send a -1 to the server, so it will never again make a new ID for me. Follow? Now I just got to go write the server side of that. And by the way, we don't want to pop up alerts all the time. That would be obnoxious. We'll just get rid of those. In fact, it's probably going to be better to do a console.log, because that will allow me to still get this information but not have to look at it all the time. Okay, now let's go write the server side. Main.java, here's the onPost method. OnPost is the method that receives things from the client. Remember here in the client, we called it HTTP post. That means use post to talk to the server. So right here, when we're in onPost, incoming, we'll have everything that the client just sent to the server. We don't need to print this. We need to say something along the lines of, okay, incoming.get ID. Let's see, I think we write that int ID, client ID is equal to int of incoming get ID. Is that how we write it? Somebody correct me if I'm wrong. I think that's how you extract an int from your JSON object. So I've got that client ID. I'll say here, if client ID is less than 0, that means, hey, this is a brand new client who needs a new ID. Then I'll say, in fact, I'm going to do that after I've made my outgoing message. So I can say outgoing dot your ID is equal to client count plus plus. Is that confusing? I'll not put it on 2 lines just so I can say client count plus plus. There. So if I have 0 clients, then the first client that sends me a -1 is going to get ID of 0. If I have 1 client, then the next client to send me a -1 for ID will get a 1. Thank you for that. Also, I'm going to need a client count. Let's come up here. See how everything is static? Well, let's do that here too. Static int client count equals 0. There, now I've got a client count. It's only going to get bumped or incremented whenever a client sends me a number less than 0, and I'll send it back to them. And how about every time a client contacts me, I'll also send it other information, like outgoing.mariox equals mariox, outgoing.mariony equals mariony, outgoing.luigiX equals lx, outgoing.luigy equals luigy. Because why not? Every time a client contacts me, I'll just tell them everything I know. Here's where Mario is, here's Luigi is, you deal with it. Sound good? Well, now I'm going to need those things, so, oops, mx equals 100, my, Luigi x, and Luigi y. And I think we started him at 200. There. Now the server has started off with these model variables that perfectly match what the clients will start off with, so now we're all good to go. And we've taken care of the ID thing, and we've taken care of telling the clients where they are. Now all we need to do is have the clients be able to receive that information and deal with it and update the server when we move. So let's go back to the client. We're in turtle.html. Okay. Here's how we send a message to the server, right? By the way, you might want to make a function that wraps this just so you can call it from multiple places. For right now, I'm going to copy and paste it. Because somewhere in here, I have this onClick method. I have a setDestination method. If I wanted to right here, how about I will send to the server a new message. Say my ID equals my ID, because it's expecting it. And now destx equals x and ob.dest_y equals y. There. Now every time I click my mouse to set the destination for my turtle, it will also send a message to the server that includes my ID and also sends where the new destination of the turtle is. Except now you're thinking, wait a minute, turtles, I thought we were doing Marios, and yeah, my head's kind of splinching in a few different directions, and this is where you're gonna take over and make it actually work, and I'm not, because I've got to leave you something to do, right? But if every time you pressed a key, you were to update Mario's X and then send to the server where Mario's new X position is, do you see the server would then receive that information? Yeah. And then over here on the server side, whenever you receive information, check if that's in the object and update your Mario X and Mario Y and Luigi X and Luigi Y. Basically, there's communication going back and forth and everything's getting updated. And I think I've covered enough now that with just a little doing and practicing and testing and debugging, you can make the whole thing work. I have this setDestination method whenever I click to send my turtle somewhere. In your game, it's going to be when you press a key, it moves Mario 10 pixels to the right, right? Instead, your move Mario function is going to say, if my ID is 0, move Mario 10 pixels to the right. Else, if my ID is 1, move Luigi 10 pixels to the right. And whichever you do, you're then going to contact the server after this manner and say to the server, hey server, I just updated the position of Luigi, or I just updated the position of Mario. And you'll do that by attaching to this object the information that the server needs so that it can receive it. And you'll send it to the server right here, and the server will receive it right here in that incoming. And when the server receives it, it will need to get that information out of that message and do something with it. And hopefully the server will be able to look at that ID and say, oh, you're Mario. So if you tell me where Luigi is, I can just ignore you, because only Mario should control Mario, right? And only Luigi will control Luigi. If you've got your two clients fighting by Luigi moves and then Mario says, no, Luigi's right there. And then the server says, okay, he's right there, and then tells Luigi, you're over there. Do you see what's gonna happen? They're not gonna move, because as soon as they move, the other client's gonna say, nuh-uh, and move you right back. And that would be bad. So make sure you have enough logic to take care of, who are you? Oh, you're Mario. Then if you tell me where Mario is, I believe you. But if you're Luigi, and you tell me where Mario is, I'm gonna say, well, I don't care where you think Mario is, but I'll believe you where you think Luigi is, right? Okay, so if you have bugs, you will have to add print statements or debuggers. And yes, you can attach a debugger to your Java side and a different debugger to your JavaScript side. So you can have two debuggers running at the same time. One in your web browser debugging the JavaScript side, and one in Eclipse debugging your Java side, and you can hit breakpoints and look at your variables and all of that stuff. So the main thing you'll need to do to debug it, though, is look at the information that passes between the clients and the servers. If you don't know which side your bug is on, study the messages and say, did this client send the message it should have sent to the server? And if it did, then it's working. If it didn't, then it's not on that side, right? So you can tell which side the problem's on, so you'll know which side to attach your debugger to, so you can debug the code.